In this video, I want to discuss some of the elements you need to keep in mind when you are given the opportunity to choose materials to read and examine and to work with that are interesting to you. So I left the assignment that you had to do rather open because I wanted to see what you would pick. And I was pleased to see that most of you picked material that had what I like to call academic mileage to it. In other words, it's not going to dead end in your personal response or experience with it. I think that you can take these topics that you've chosen, the material you looked at on your own in your own choice, and find a way to repackage it or reversion it so that it can be suitable for a college topic of research or investigation or focus. And I want to show you some of the things that you did naturally because you realized that this whole issue of interest is has two edges to it, or two sides to it. One is that which is, strictly interesting to me personally, and the other side being that which is interesting to me, but I know to a lot of other people too. Think of your personal tastes here. You may have some crazy tastes. I know someone, last I talked to her, she was trying to convince me of the delights of a peanut butter and pickle sandwich, and I decided I didn't even want to taste that. However, I enjoy hot sauce with watermelon. So these are tastes that are just somehow unique and weird, but I really like a good hot brownie with ice cream on top of it. That appeals to my taste very much, and I also know that appeals to the taste of a lot of people. So when you are asked to pick something interesting, think to yourself, am I picking something interesting that's just interesting to me for some weird reason, or is it interesting because I'm a human and this is an element that intrinsically interests humans? And if you go on that route, you will end up writing interesting papers, interesting work, presenting interesting data. And as soon as you start interesting those who are evaluating you, you begin to climb up on the evaluation chart. So remember that it's hard to explain. I don't know how to explain taste and interests, but I just know that some topics and some approaches to things or people or analyses are just, they might have been interesting to the author, but they're boring in the main. Others are just flat out interesting. As soon as I see a title of this or this object or this thing, there's something in me that sits up and takes notice, because this was somehow, it's interesting to a large group of people. Okay, another thing that I noticed is that you were reading material that you thought in some way could affect your everyday life, the nitty-gritty of daily living. So you were interested in data, you were interested in facts, you were interested in how close it was to where you lived, or how it reminded you of something you've gone through and how it could affect you in the future. So the material you chose, a lot of it had implicit connections to how you live every day, and you knew it had ramifications, and that you were aware that if things changed in this arena, it could change how you live. So you had an invested concern with that. Now, remember that when you are given the opportunity to pick a topic to read or to write about, people are drawn to those things that really matter in real life, as if this isn't real life, but you know what I mean, the experiences that we have every day, and that if X changes, then I will have to change my way of living. The drought, for instance, the drought that Texas experienced 2 years ago, and that most of the mid-American region experienced this last summer, it's going to change things with our grocery shopping. So people are interested in that. I wasn't interested in grocery shopping or droughts before, but now I'm thinking about this. So be sure that the topics you pick are not picked by you because you have a high school paper you want to recycle, or it's a tried and true topic. But those are already mined, and there's little that you could probably take away with that is new. But instead, pick topics that have are on the event horizon. They're current and they affect people. Okay, so remember that I will give you opportunities to pick other topics, and then some I will give to you from my choice because they are not necessarily interesting, but they lend themselves to pedagogical approaches. I need to use them to teach a lesson. So if you come across a reading from my end of things, remember that I might have picked it because I want to teach you something that's not necessarily stemming from the content of that. But if I were to pick material and someone were to say, you're going to be judged on how well your students become interested in this material, I know I would pick some things different, I know how I would pick them. So keep those in mind and think about that when you approach the next assignment of critique writing.